going to go ahead and call this public hearing meeting to order for ordinance number 723, which is an annexation and zoning of pathway annexation for the town of Glenrock, and ordinance number 724, changing of final plat of tract of blocks 8, 9, and 10, tract A of the Glenrock Cemetery, and planning and zoning change of lots 1 through 10 for Danaher Court Edition in the town of Glenrock. So the first one we'll be discussing, or if there's any comment, would be ordinance 723, the ordinance approving the annexation of and zoning of for the 2020 pathway annexation in the town of Glenrock, Wyoming. Is there any comments?
Yeah, there's a map.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a map of it.
It'd be right after the ordinance 723.
Keep going. There you go. A little bit higher. There you go. If you want to talk, you got to come up to the podium. Sorry, Gary.
Hi. The only question I have is Miller Lane. Are you going to annex the road Miller Lane? Because I can't really tell. I've got a map here, but I can't really tell on this map. You see where it goes up on Miller Lane? It's right on the left edge of where you've got it highlighted. Miller Lane. It doesn't show the road.
I'd have to leave that up to Jared to give us a statement there, because Miller Lane is a designated roadway in the town of Glenrock.
It's what?
A designated roadway in the town of Glenrock. It's been named in several different subdivisions.
I know that. It's just that. Okay, there you go. You're getting closer.
Or if you're wanting to know in behind there.
No, I can see that. What's that darker area behind it? Right there.
That's just inside the pathway of the old railroad right away.
Okay, down on the entrance is Miller Lane annexed? You trying to annex Miller Lane into the city? Is that what you're trying to do?
No, we're annexing all the old railroad right away that the town purchased, and since we put the pathway down through all of it, we're annexing all the pathway and several other pieces of property that the town owns, which would be around the Gallery Wells and then down at the Fox Hills Parks. They're all town properties that lie within the county and not in the town of Glenrock, so we're only annexing in town property.
Yeah, I understand that. I was just wondering if see, I see some more hash marks there. Can I point it out to you?
I'm going to guess that covers.
Go back to the. Okay.
It's on the next page on the map. It's on the side right here. Yes. I can't read it. Is that a clear one?
It's 48. It's city-owned property, but it's located between.
No, we are not annexing your property. The only thing we're annexing in is city-owned property.
Okay.
That's a roadway between your two's properties.
Whatever the,
At 48 feet, I thought.
if,
47.
West of his property?
Yes, that's where the gallery wells are,
Yeah,
where the old
yeah.
gallery wells was in there. Yes, that belongs to the town, and anything that was outside the town limits when we started this, we were gonna move into the city limits.
Yeah, Mike got one of them little cards and he called me and asked me if I'd check on what's going on. He doesn't know. So I'll tell him then that you guys surveyed that property, correct? Okay, you might want to look at that.
Why would I wanna look at it?
Huh?
I
Because
said,
he doesn't
why-
know where his property line is.
Well, that's his due diligence to have
I know,
his survey.
I know. Well, we're just asking, he wants to be sociable about it, I think. I don't know.
All of ours was, all of ours was annexed, or is being annexed in, has all been surveyed in the last 30 to 60 days, somewhere in there.
annexation, they'll go out there and they'll settle the fund, and then you should be able to find out.
Yeah, he just had a question. He didn't know if anything was over there because he couldn't see it on that map, so.
Yeah, there's several pieces we're bringing in, but it's all already city-owned property. It just still lies in the county,
Yeah, I understand.
is all we're doing with that. That's all this ordinance is for. Yeah, no problem.
I
We
can
had
tell,
several other people, because there's another piece back in over there, behind in there that belongs to another person that had a concern about the land. And we said, no, we are not annexing other private property in, at this. We're not forced annexing anything. We're just bringing in city property.
okay. I can tell him that.
That's all it's for.
But you're gonna put the pins in though, right? All right.
Yeah, we'll mark ours when we're done. Is there any other questions or comments about 723? You're welcome, guys. Any other comments or questions about ordinance 723? We'll move on to 724, which is an ordinance approving the zoning change and final plat of blocks 8, 9, and 10 and Tract A of the Glenrock Cemetery, comprising of 2.88 acres, more or less. They're changing their classification of the property from R1 to public so they can plot it out for grave sites. This is the purpose of this zoning change. Any questions or comments? I was kind of surprised to see they didn't do that before they did all the work up there and put all the streets in and parking lot and everything else, but if there's no questions or comments. The third one is ordinance number 725, an ordinance approving a zone change for lots 1 through 10 of the Danaher Court Edition in the town of Glenrock, Wyoming, which is changing their zoning from MH, which is mobile home, to R1, single family residential. Is there any questions or comments on 725? All three of these ordinances have been before the planning and zoning boards with a recommendation by them for all three to be approved. Hearing no other questions or comments, we'll close the public hearing and open our council meeting. Would you please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance with us? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any additions or deletions?
Nope.
Meeting? Is there a motion for approval of minutes of January 11th, 2021 council meeting?
I move we approve the January 11th meeting minutes.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Reports. Councilman Moulton.
Attended the big announcement at the Paisley for the Boys and Girls Club. It's a pretty big deal. Had private people donate $100,000, I believe, to the operating fund.
Operating and
Yep. To Boys and Girls Club. That's a lot of money.
Mhm.
And it was amazing. Commissioners and, you know, of course us, just, and even the public, really behind this whole project, trying to do something great for the kids. And we all recognize the kids of the future. That's really where we need to invest. So, also had a first GDC meeting of the month. Chamber was there. Looks like we might be working together a little bit on some events this year. So keep you posted on that.
sounds good. Thank you. Councilwoman Fons. Yeah, they practiced in Douglas the week before. Yeah, that's what I've heard. It went really well up there. And along with the fire department, police department, ambulance service, and all of them did it. It sounds like they did a great job. So good turnout. Councilman Kincaid.
Yeah, I just want to second what Councilwoman Font said. I was just wanting to say thank you to the Commerce County Health Department, along with our PD and the fire department on putting this on here in our community. Went really smooth, and thank them for, they took care of the school district too, all teachers and staff, so for vaccine if they wanted it. So thank you to all those folks.
Councilwoman Nunn.
Yes, the landfill board continues to work through many regulations, close that open cell up there. John Maines confirmed that the town has 3 access cards for disposing of animal carcasses at the Tuna County landfill. These cards are located with Tammy, Randy, and Stuart, and hopefully this will help with the issue of disposing of dead bodies, animal bodies. Amy?
Careful now. Careful.
Yeah.
Put your card away.
I have to
Okay,
power.
no, it's not time. Oh, Amy Clark from the Community Block Grant is trying to locate use locked file cabinets that are no longer being used. She works very hard to keep her funding flowing directly to people.
And then
So
filing cabinets does she want?
if you know of any homeless file cabinets, let me or Amy know and we'll try to get her set up with a better system. Do you have some?
I have 2 4.
You have two, you already, okay. Bob will be by to pick them up.
I will donate them to that service.
They're at your house?
No, they're actually down at my shop, but we can get that taken care of.
Okay. Mr. Nunn will be in touch with the hauling service.
Rick,
And
Who is it that needs those? Who needs those?
Amy Clark from the Community Block Grant. She has gotten some really nice block grants, but she's very good about not wanting to buy equipment. She wants to put it directly to people. And it was a very special gift that was given to the children of our community when Dr. McGinley chose the Boys and Girls Club to receive that $100,000 donation. I'm sure there are other organizations that would have been very happy to have it also. From Foster and Lynette Fries. This is good for children, good for young working families, and a special opportunity for our community. And I too have heard very positive things on the way that Rolling Hills handled their vaccination program. They should be very pleased with what they did up there. And that's it. As long as all bodies are counted for.
that's a gray area.
Yeah.
Oh. That's interesting, Bruce.
Yeah, Tammy, clerk.
I also attended GEDC, and I wanted to mention that Hope Wardner resigned, and so we have an open seat available on GEDC. So if anybody's interested, or if you know of anybody that would be good on that board, please ask them to put in an application. They can pick those up through me. I attended Enterprise also, and there's really not very much to report on that because we spent most of the time discussing the investment policy. So hopefully next month I'll have some more to share. And the last thing is I applied for a grant through the State of Wyoming Division of Criminal Investigation for coronavirus emergencies. It's through the Emergency Supplemental Fund, and it will help pay for the COVID cleaning that we had done. I don't remember what month. Was that like in November? We had that done?
That deep cleaning.
Yeah, the deep cleaning. They come in with their suits and they got everybody out and cleaned everything. So this grant will pay for that for the year of 2020 to get done quarterly. And so the grant, they awarded us $31,458.55. So AmeriClean will come in. I don't have the next one set up, but I'll get it set up as soon as possible, and we'll get that done quarterly for this year.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Kelly, treasurer.
Mayor and council, W-2s are out and 99s are out, and I filed all of the forms to go federal. Everything's been accepted, so that part's done. Everybody start thinking about budget.
Come on
Already
quick.
It's like it just
I'm
was
gonna quit.
yesterday.
Randy.
Evening, Mayor and Council. Crew's been busy with garbage collection, snow removal, and sanding. A couple meter pit upgrades and meters in residence that we put in equipment, vehicle maintenance. The bad news is we did not receive any funding from SLIB for the sewer project. They denied us. So I had Ray put some numbers together for us to pick up all the sewer to get it done, because we discovered 3/4 of 2nd Street is all PVC. Nobody knew that.
I did.
Bruce did. He told us after we cambered it all and put the app
I
in.
didn't ask.
But we started out at $2 million with SLIB. When we went down and met with them, I asked for $750 and they still denied us. But we'd like to move on with the project. Kelly says we have the funds. We have quite a bit left from the 3rd Street project that would cover all this. So either yay or nay, so we can move forward and get it out to bid.
Didn't we already have money towards this project?
Yes.
We have money towards the water side of it,
Okay.
but not
We
the
have
sewer.
$958,000 for the water. That's for the water development.
Randy, why did they deny it? Did they give any reason?
Number one, they said their top, which none of us knew, was 1.9 million, and we applied for 2. And we didn't know that. And number two, they thought they'd given Glenrock a lot of money recently, so. And then they almost went for the 750. The mayor, or the governor was for it, but the rest of them weren't. So. I tried, so did Ray.
You have a rough idea on what the sewer's gonna cost?
Yep, he put numbers together for me the past couple days, and it'd be right around 500,000 or less.
Our original first estimate was over 750, so because of what we don't have to replace now, it's brought that way down, which is good.
So Kelly, we're good with that amount?
Yes.
Yeah.
Extra, and we'll still have money there if we need it for unforeseen things with our project, with the new town project.
That is
Don't want to
covering-
come up,
Splash Park's in a whole different deal. That's all handled.
So do we need
We've
to
got funds left.
add that
The third-
to the agenda to vote to move forward for putting that out, all out for bid?
Okay, on the next agenda or this one?
I would say, aren't we wanting to get on that?
Couldn't we do it on this one?
Yeah, we can do it tonight. We just need a motion for somebody to put it on the,
Did we have to request you guys to okay us to go out to bid, or I thought it was
No.
approval of bids?
it's just approval of bid. So I guess we really don't need to vote about going out. I just want to make sure with all council that you're all in agreement that we go ahead and move forward with Second Street Water and Sewer Project.
Do we do budget amendment, no? Just approve?
We don't have to do a budget amendment. We got enough money left on Third Street.
Yeah, we have enough money left in both accounts to cover it this
I
year.
would make a motion to go ahead and approve
Going to bid.
going to bid for getting the sewer project done on Second Street.
no, I'll second that.
Would you like to say water and sewer?
Water and sewer.
Thank you. All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Carries, go ahead.
Just one last thing. I attended this afternoon with the commissioners' interview with 4 engineering firms to do Mormon Canyon Road and the walk path. And so we picked HDR, and they're going to negotiate the price. They were fairly high. They were almost $500,000 just for engineering of 2 miles of road.
Okay.
So our second pick is WLC. I did not make it to that interview. I was at another meeting this morning. So just to let you know, we are talking about taking the bluff out, moving the road over, and then maybe possibly just graveling the walk path for now, and then we go after a TAP grant to pave it. So that option I threw out there, so we'll look at that and talk to our engineers, because I don't remember all the nightmare of the paperwork we had to do.
I think the last TAP grant was over, total time was over 2 years, was it not?
Yes.
Randy, are they looking at getting on this project this summer?
They want to move this year, get it done.
Till spring.
I told them I prefer probably just get it all completed. I don't,
That's the purpose of getting the engineering firm, was to get some true costs for that pathway along the side of the Mormon Canyon Road, because
Plus
there's no,
building the
there's no,
road.
yeah, plus they're building their part of the road, so it, the first estimate came in high. They said earlier this year was over 12 million for 2 miles, and they went, ooh, no. I don't know what it's down to now, but there's some extensive work to do along through
About
the first.
3.5 is what they're figuring.
Yeah.
Is that all the way to the south rec
Yes.
entrance?
So that's gonna be adjacent with the road,
Yes.
Mhm.
and they're fixing the road. That's part of that.
That's the purpose of it, is to cut into the hillside and all the sandstone and widen the road.
some work.
Yeah, there's gonna be some work there. So we told the county that we were very interested in what was going on, and our hope was to be able to pave it all at the same time, but we'll just have to see what the numbers come in. But the last meeting, we talked to those guys, what's his name, Jason? They were kind of concerned whether they could even get it out to bid this year.
Yeah. A couple of the engineering firms thought it was a tight schedule to get it done, but we'll see if we can get her done.
We'll see what happens. We'll keep you informed on what we find out. Because I know there's several more meetings coming up after that for
Yeah.
you and I with all those guys too. So,
That's all I have.
okay, Scott, building and code.
Building department, we got the ordinance and that's out, we also have to close, set it on an 8-hour conference,
Scott, like what kind of new things are coming down on you?
Accounts, growing and processing for the building department, there's quite a few concerns with building codes, fruits, the processes have pipe and going along with things that are going
Dabble correctly.
Questions for Scott? Not, Chief Steele.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. 2 weeks ago, we met with representatives from Landfill project, presented their project specification. I provided all of you some comparison numbers on a couple of pieces as to go with their system. Tomorrow afternoon, Axon will be here presenting the scale and fix the commission with all of you. Once that's done, at the next council meeting, let you guys know what my recommendation is in the ongoing process of the local documentation that I provided you. Citing upfront material installation costs and the like, there will be some ongoing costs for software licenses and warranties for the officers. Second of all, we were able to get in on a deal to get some new radar units for our patrolling vehicles. We're going to get 2 new ones for our new vehicles that are supposed to be working out. And one of the manufacturers had a deal going on. We've got 4 radar units for the price of 3. And getting these installed in a subsequent replacement for our older operator units. The other 2 will go into our new units.
Jared, IT.
Mayor and Council, good evening. I attended a training and certification for NetMotion, which is our VPN software that we use for the police department, and I also have it in use for some of the town devices. For their new platform, they just had a major upgrade, so I attended a training and certification, a test and exam on that this past week. Got some new PCs in and getting those set up for Public Works. They have some of the last Windows 7 machines still hanging around down there. So we'll get those done this week. And then I also have tower work scheduled for Thursday to get the access point up so that we can start getting the cameras out and about throughout the town, especially looking at South Rec and the town park.
Okay. Any questions for Jared?
Do you think you have those cameras out and working well before spring, Jared?
I wouldn't say well before spring. One of the not issues, one of the challenges we'll have is there's going to be some work needed for getting power to these locations. So, you know, if we're going to be near a street light or something like that, we'll have to get that power stepped down to a usable voltage for all of our equipment and things like that. So there'll be a little bit of work required getting some electricians involved and stuff to get that work done. But I'm hoping to have them up, you know, at least by March, April is my goal. When this component goes up on the tower, I mean, radios will be ready to be connected to it, and we have our backhaul already back through. So as soon as that's up on the tower, the next step's just getting some electricians out there to get some power set up so we can mount the other radios and the cameras.
How many cameras are you hoping to get out?
Right now, I have 3 that are slated to go out. They're a different style camera than what we currently have out there. Right now we have what are called PTZs, or they move around and you can move them around and zoom them in. The style of camera that I'm going to use for these locations are actually a quad view camera, so it has 4 sensors in it, and then you just set them up in a 360-degree view, so then it's always viewing around itself at all times, whereas with the ones that you can move around, it's only looking at a certain point at time. And right now we have them set to kind of tour around, but obviously as they run around you miss stuff that's happening around them. So these ones will be able to see all around themselves at all times. So
What are your 3 locations right now, Jerry?
those are going to still need to be worked on. You know, 2 of them at South Rec and 1 at the town is currently what I have scheduled. But the specific locations are going to require some sighting for the radios getting back to the tower, so we got to make sure they're not buried in the trees. I think the current location for the one camera at the town park probably won't work, although there's already power and stuff there. It's A, too low, and B, is kind of shielded by trees and looking back at the tower. So there's just some work like that we'll have to kind of adjust it and finagle it a little bit, go find a good place for it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Fire Department, Sean.
Well, I guess it's about time I got down here and introduced myself. I'm the new chief of the Glenrock Fire Department. We've been busy, real busy this year so far. We've got 25 calls going. Most of them are medical assist calls. We're getting a new generator put up at the Rolling Hill Fire Station, so they'll have backup power up there now. We did get our new command unit up and running, so we put it in Rolling Hills so we could bring theirs back down here to the city to run as a ambulance response rig. And we're just busy. We've been busy getting after it. I've been almost every day down at Fire Hall doing something here or there. Real busy time.
Good, thanks for coming in and talking to the council.
Thank you.
Sean, can you make sure to get me your contact information so I can put it on the website?
Sure will.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll move on to items from the floor. Is there any items from the floor?
Just make a quick announcement. I'm Deanna Bradshaw. So tomorrow night here at 6:30, we are gonna have a Deer Creek Days meeting with the chamber. There's a bunch of us that have gotten together. We've got a committee together, and then anybody's welcome to come, but we're gonna be putting that together here at 6:30 tomorrow night. Just try to get some of the planning and events going for that.
Have you established a date at this time?
Not at this time. I know there was just some talk about potential dates, but I know that they were still working with the Hogfest on what dates they were maybe wanting to look at. So we're still, I think that hasn't been like officially announced of those actual dates yet.
I was under the impression that that had already been resolved with
Yeah.
a date.
Resolved.
Okay,
Hogfest did book
Yeah.
with me. I don't remember the dates offhand. Is it the last weekend in June and the first?
The last weekend in June.
But I don't know if that could be subject to
Okay.
change.
any other items from the floor? Everybody get up at once. Okay, we'll move on to new business. First item of business is the pathway annexation for first reading. Ordinance number 723 is an ordinance approving the annexation and zoning for the 2020 pathway annexation in the town of Glenrock, Wyoming, whereas the town of Glenrock has applied to annex town-owned property comprised of 36.41 acres, more or less, generally located from Millar Lane to Meadowlark Street along the abandoned railroad corridor, and 6-acre parcel, more or less, generally located near the corner of South First Street and Deer Street and bordered by Deer Creek on the east end. Whereas the town will zone all these properties as parks, open spaces, and public. Whereas the town of Glenrock Planning and Zoning Commission recommended that the council approve this annexation and zoning following a public hearing on December 1st, 2020, and now therefore be it deigned by the governing body of the town of Glenrock, Wyoming, Section 1, the annexation of the 2020 pathway annexation plat as described above and is hereby approved and said is included within the corporate limits of the town of Glenrock, and all rights, privileges, and duties pertaining to such inclusion shall apply to said area. Section 2, the land described in the 2020 pathway annexation is hereby zoned park, open space, and public. Section Section 3, the ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after passage on third reading and publication pursuant to law. Passed and approved, passed on the first reading of 25th day of January 2021. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass the first reading on the 723 ordinance pathway annexation.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay, motion carries. Okay, ordinance number 724, cemetery rezoning, first reading. An ordinance approving the zone change and final plat of blocks 8, 9, 10, and tract A of the Glenrock Cemetery comprising of 2.88 acres more or less, whereas an application has been made for final plat approval of block 8, 9, and 10 and tract A of the Glenrock Cemetery, whereas the plat consists of previously platted land located within the Pine Wall addition, and whereas an application has been made to rezone all the above described lots from zoning classification R1, which is single family residential, to park, open space, and public. And whereas the zone change and plat requires approval by ordinance following a public hearing, as whereas after a public hearing, Town of Glenrock Planning and Zoning Commission passed a motion recommending that the Town Council approve the request for rezone and plat the above referenced property, and whereas the governing body of the Town of Glenrock finds that the above described zone change and plat should be approved. Now now therefore be ordained by the governing body of the Town of Glenrock, Section 1, the final plat of Block 8, 9, 10, and Tract A of the Glenrock Cemetery is hereby approved. Section 2, that the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute and the town clerk to attest the rezone of all the above described lots from zoning classification R1, single family residence, to parks, open space, and public. Section 3 of the ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after passage of third and final reading and publication pursuant to law. Passed on the first reading the 25th day of January 2021. Is there a motion?
I move that we pass ordinance 724 as presented.
The motion is there second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed by nay, motion carries.
Get a break on the next one. It's only half page.
Thank God. I don't have to keep flipping back, and at least I kept them in order. Okay, ordinance number 725, an ordinance approving a zone change for lots 1 through 10 of the Danaher Court Edition in the Town of Glenrock, Wyoming. Whereas an application has been made to rezone all the above described lots from zoning classification MH mobile home to R1 single family resident, and whereas after a public hearing on December 8th, 2020, Town of Glenrock Planning and Zoning Commission passed a motion recommending the Town Council approve the zone change request, and whereas the governing body of the Town of Glenrock finds that the above described zone change should be approved. Now therefore it be ordained by the governing body of the Town of Glenrock, Wyoming, Section 1, lots 1 through 10 of the Danaher Court Edition is hereby rezoned from zoning classification mobile home to R1 single family resident. Section 2, the ordinance shall be in full force and effect from after passage on 3 readings and publication pursuant to law. Passed on the first reading the 25th day of January 2021. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve ordinance 725.
Motion, is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay, motion carries. Next order of business is bills and claims. Is there a motion?
Go ahead.
Your turn.
I'll make a motion to pay our bills.
I'll second it.
And moved and seconded. Any discussion?
One for Kelly. Do a lot of people pay their water sewer bill online?
Quite a few.
Really?
They're moving more and more that way. Either online or we have the ability to set it up as an auto pay kind of bank draft,
Okay.
and that's a free service. And
What's that? What's
we're
that?
pushing that more and more.
What's the fee on that the other way?
It's 3%.
Okay.
Do it online with the card. Or in the office.
Okay.
The auto pay is free.
Any more questions or comments on bills and claims? If not, I'll call for a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Is there anything else to come before the council this evening? If not, somebody would like to entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Motion,
Second.
moved and seconded. Any discussion? Calling for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Meeting's closed.